What are your thoughts on Halo PC is a question I get more than you'd expect. I'm a PC gamer, and my Xbox mainly exists as a Halo machine. Though the Xbox One X does provide the best looking games on console, and actually managed to make Halo 5, a game I was quite critical of graphically at launch, to look absolutely fantastic with the enhancements the Xbox provided. Still, it's nothing compared to what my PC can push. Lately, I've been playing some Halo 5 on PC, since I have to push myself to play on Xbox, and you can imagine how that's hard for a Halo YouTuber who prefers his games on the comfort of the PC. I have quite a few games I enjoy playing on PC, but Halo is a very specific itch that Battlefield and Destiny can't scratch. And while I may not like Halo 5, it's the best thing I've got. At least until MCC comes to PC, please 343. As a console player, I assume it's difficult to understand why PC players tend to never look back when they make the jump. And without being condescending, I'll try to explain what I enjoy about PC gaming. Let's start with Halo 5. GameCheat 13 made a tool a while back called Exuberant, and it lets you modify a lot of the things that the bare bones port of Halo 5 doesn't allow for, such as your HUD, your field of view. If you'd like to play in third person, spawn with randomized camos on your guns, hell, even in Forge you can go nuts and drop in AI to take out your daily frustrations on. FOV stands for Field of View, and it's essentially how wide your vision is in-game. Here's the best way that I can visually describe the field of view. It's kind of like having horse blinders on. In-game, it's kind of like you have horse blinders, and with a field of view option, you can tune the peripherals of your vision and how much the horse blinders allow you to see. Why do people do this, though? Well, for some people, it helps them be more aware of their surroundings, since you can see more of what's going on. You don't have to swing the camera around like crazy anymore and get all motion sick, since you have a healthy view of the battle going on around you. An issue that can arise from an increased field of view, though, is that not every developer optimizes their games for it, so in some cases, you can find that it breaks the game in really funny ways, such as being able to see the janky parts of animations that used to be completely concealed by the field of view. In some cases, it does show you some interesting details that you can't actually see normally, such as the way that you actually pull the trigger every time you fire a shot. There's also this crazy warping effect that comes when you stretch the field of view way too much, and it almost looks like you're playing in an intro to Doctor Who. This, however, I can't say is a condemnation of a field of view customization option, since it's simply user error if you break the visuals. The goal is to find that healthy sweet spot where the game's visuals don't break, yet you can still see around you in a healthy way. Personally, I find that 105 works really well, so it really does depend on your personal preference. Some games scale the weapon with your field of view as a way to keep the player from seeing the jank hidden off screen. I'm personally a fan of when the weapon doesn't scale with your field of view, because in some cases, I actually think it makes the weapon look more natural, since it isn't hugging your screen so tightly, and it's actually being held now a healthy arm lengths away from your face like you would normally hold a gun. My favorite types of games are the games that actually let you opt in or out of having the weapon hug the screen with your field of view, but I understand that some developers want to protect their game's visual presentation to an extent. Speaking of visual presentation, another really cool thing that comes with playing on PC is the ability to customize the visuals. Every console comes with the same hardware, though now that's starting to change. That means that every game looks and plays the same on every console. On PC, however, you have a huge range of different PCs with different parts and different abilities. Not every PC can run each game on max settings at 144 frames per second. So the graphics options let you fine-tune the visuals till your game runs at a healthy frame rate. If you don't really care about visuals and you want to get the best performance possible, you can just downgrade the visuals of the game and it'll start running a lot better. This also means that people who put down a lot of money on a PC can have their PC last, because future games, they can just tune down the visuals and then they can run them perfectly fine. You can't do that on a console. Every now and then you do have to get a new console because the previous generation simply can't run new games, and there's no graphics options to allow them to. Now here is a cool thing about consoles. They're most definitely inferior gaming machines, but they are benefiting PC in unseen ways. To make up for the limited graphics a console can push, developers lately are getting smarter and smarter with how they design the art and presentation of their games to hide graphical shortcomings. So on PC, you'll find that some games still look absolutely beautiful on lower settings. And where a PC gamer benefits from this is that because the graphics are technically worse, but the art still looks beautiful, the game performs better and you still get that beautiful presentation. It's a win-win for console gamers and PC gamers. Imagine if consoles let you have this level of personalization. For Battlefield, I find that ambient occlusion makes the game look really murky and muddy. So by disabling it, I find that the game looks much prettier, and because it's disabled, I get an increased FPS. Or with Destiny 2 on PC, I think that the motion blur and light shafts can be really distracting in-game and make it harder to see. So when I disable them, the game runs better, looks cleaner, and in my opinion, still looks beautiful, if not more so because some of the distracting things have been disabled. Here's where I guess we can get into some of the visual customization stuff. There's a tool I've been using a lot lately for my PC games that lets me customize even more elements of my PC games' visuals. It's called Reshade, and it comes with its own installer, which means it's no hassle to get it working for every game. Here's an example of me screwing around with it on Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 is already a beautiful game at max settings, but what if we make it prettier? I found that this option here, for example, makes the fog in-game look thicker and more atmospheric, an option that the game doesn't normally ship with. Or motion blur, which makes games look really super cinematic if you really like that kind of stuff. Though in the case of motion blur, I can only recommend applying it to games that are already running at a super high frame rate, because I found personally that it tends to make the games look gross if you've got motion blur enabled and the game is running at a low frame rate. This is where Reshade can actually help boost the presentation of older games that kinda look janky by today's standards, but apply a motion blur effect and some awesome filters, and you can get an old game like Left 4 Dead 2 looking modern. With a ton of tweaking and customizations, such as adding film grain, a border to the game, and more, I ended up making the game look like actual historical footage. And this is gameplay. I didn't edit this in post, and when I hop into a multiplayer game, the game still looks like this, and that's awesome. Imagine what I could do with Halo and Reshade. Sadly, since Halo 5 is chained to the Windows Store, there's no way to install Reshade, which is just one more reason for the Windows Store to f*** off, and to bring something fun like MCC to Steam. Here's something that will surely blow your mind. Playing Halo 5 with a PlayStation controller. This is something I can do on my PC with the help of DS Windows, which is a tool that tricks games that don't normally support PlayStation controllers into thinking that your PlayStation controller is actually an Xbox One. So if I feel like being miserable and hurting my thumbs, I can play any game I want with a PS4 controller. I also find that I prefer using text chat instead of voice chat because as an antisocial weirdo, it's kind of weird having to say goodbye to people in these weird, prolonged, stiff exits from a game. So being able to chat with people without actually chatting to them, I find more comfortable. A lot of my game nights on Halo 5 PC have been really fun when subscribers recognize me and we have little chats about what they enjoy about the game. And none of it is over voice, so I don't feel socially awkward. 343's worst kept secret currently is their plans for PC. Halo Infinite will be on PC, and the community has been yelling for so long about MCC on PC, and the way that El Dorito completely shook up the community, I'm sure 343 has plans there as well. I love my PC, and I love Halo. And I'd love for the ability to ditch my Xbox and play Halo in the most comfortable way I can. With a high field of view, a controller of my choice, or mouse and keyboard, and I'd love for others to have that ability as well. I know a lot of people ask me if it will hurt Xbox sales, and to be honest, I don't really care. Because as a Halo fan, I'm more interested in Halo being able to please as many gamers as possible and be the best it can, and expanding to PC is a fantastic way for it to do so. This video may have been shorter and less focused, but it means a lot to me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. Since it's the end of the video, I'm going to be answering a question. Now this question comes from 9991 Stupid, who says, "Why do you talk like a robot?" Now the reason I'm answering this question is because it is a very valid one. People who watch a lot of my content and have been here for years have noticed that I'm talking with a very different cadence than I usually talk. The reason that I'm doing this is, honestly, experimenting. Throughout the years, my audio quality and editing style has changed dramatically, and people probably notice. In fact, the last couple of months I've been having problems with my new microphone, which makes the audio sound a little bit more left-sided than normal. I've finally gotten that figure out, and it honestly is a little bit sloppy, but to be fair, I still am trying to figure out exactly what I want this channel to be 100%, and it is an interesting journey. The little experiment that I'm doing for science is trying to change the way that I speak, because new people to the channel do tend to say that I sound very annoying naturally. Now, it's not my intention to sound annoying, I just have a very odd way of speaking normally. Growing up in a Russian household with different accents being yelled at me, as well as being the son to somebody who takes English as a language very seriously and had me writing essays at a very young age, I tend to over-enunciate my English a little bit too much, and it does irritate people. I'm not doing it intentionally, it's not a goofy voice that I'm putting on, it's just the way that I talk, and I understand that it is irritating. So I've been trying to change up the way that I speak to see how it affects some new viewers, though to be fair, people have been saying it sounds a little bit stiff, which I can't agree on to an extent, so you can expect to see it toned down a bit. But that's the reason that I'm doing that, so I hope that answered your question. If you guys want to ask any more questions, leave them in the comment section below, and guys, I'll see you on the next video.